Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anton Larsen. I'm a principal at Mass Design Group based in Rwanda. Through the example of the Masaka mixed neighborhood, I'm going to talk about how to develop clean buildings and neighborhoods that are culturally responsive. The presentation is structured in four main parts. The introduction clarifies the relationship of eco-urbanism and culturally responsive building and neighborhood design, and states the learning objectives of what are you going to learn from this presentation. The first section shows an overview of eco-urbanism strategies applied in the Masaka buildings and neighborhood design. The second section showcases the strategies implemented in the Masaka Mixed Neighborhood project, with a specific focus on cultural responsiveness. The conclusion summarizes the key lessons learned. We're going to start by clarifying the relationship of climate adaptive and culturally responsive design and outlining the learning objectives. As Geoff Mulgan stated, the great challenge of the 21st century urban design is mastering ecological and social design. Neighborhoods should be designed in response to the lifestyle, social and cultural needs of the place, and in response to our current climate crisis by minimizing the use of resources, both embodied and operational carbon, while rebuilding biodiversity and ecosystems to sequester carbon and find balance with nature. The Zoom focuses on two main learning objectives. The first learning objective, what do you mean by climate adaptive and culturally responsive buildings and neighborhoods? And the second learning objective are tactics to understand the cultural context and incorporate the findings into the design. In this part one, I'm going to give an overview of eco-urbanism strategies applied in the Masaka mixed neighborhood. Masaka mixed neighborhood provides an eco-urbanist model for neighborhood design solutions to the need of Rwandans' expanding urban population, counteracting trends of overcrowding, informality, and sprawl. Masaka responds to the special needs of Rwandan urban dwellers by increasing density in a climate adaptive and culturally responsive manner, with passive design at building scale, clean construction, energy efficiency, and integration of spaces at the dwelling, building, and urban fabric scale that respond to the culture and living habits of Rwanda. In developing the master plan, the goal was to associate density with affordability, massing with cultural sensitivity, and amenities with social responsiveness. Strategy number one is a whole system approach to eco-urbanism. The second strategy was the understanding the cultural context and urban dwellers' lifestyle. The third strategy looks at culturally sensitive massing, and the fourth one, density and housing mix. In this part, I will be giving some examples of strategies implemented with a focus on cultural responsiveness. The mission of the project is to provide affordable housing that is environmentally, culturally, and socially responsive, using a whole systems approach to eco-urbanism that includes people, biodiversity, food, water, and energy, with the aim of achieving more with less. People. The increased density is done in a culturally responsive manner with the design of dwellings that respond to spatial needs, lifestyle, and culture in an efficient way. Biodiversity and ecosystem services are essential for life. A green spine that integrates native plants is used as the structuring element of the neighborhood, as green spaces such as parks, playgrounds, or edible landscapes are the lifeblood of the neighborhood. Moreover, the different public domains are connected with running trails to promote a healthy living style. Food. The neighborhood design integrates edible landscapes, such as the use of fruit trees on the streets and kitchen gardens in the community spaces and housing backyards. Water. The neighborhood is designed for climate resilience with integration of green infrastructure, stormwater management, rain gardens, swales, retention ponds. In the building design, low-flow appliances and rainwater harvesting are implemented. Low-energy wastewater treatment plant was also integrated in the design. For energy, passive design strategies are implemented to optimize daylight and passive cooling with orientation, thermal mass, and shading devices on the facade. Units are provided with solar hot water systems on the roofs, and the construction lowers embodied energy, pioneering the use of aerated autoclave concrete construction as a low-carbon, cost-effective, made-in-Rwanda building technology. For the design of Masaka, the first step was to understand the cultural context and the needs of the future urban dwellers. For this, we conducted 3 main exercises at the start of the project. First, we researched the vernacular architecture of Rwanda. Then, conducted interviews with the local community to understand their use of public space. Lastly, we conducted interviews with potential new home buyers to understand the specific needs based on their demographic. The lessons learned from the research and the interviews were applied in the unit's design and in the neighborhood massing. From the cultural research, we found that the courtyard, or imbuga in Kinyarwanda, is an inseparable element of vernacular Rwandan architecture, where the community gather and meet to discuss different community social aspects. These communal courtyards are key spaces for social cohesion and gathering, and were integrated in the design of the higher density part of the site, where we have the apartments. We also found that the back gardens, or Ijikari in Kinyarwanda, is a defensible space where you would typically find a kitchen garden, akarima kijikoni, and core activity spaces, Ijikari. These were integrated on the ground floors of some of the apartment buildings and in the townhouses. The neighborhood provides a mix of housing typologies that accommodate a variety of different household models identified in the interviews and market research, ensuring that dwellings are culturally sensitive and meet a sell price that the households can purchase. The typologies can house extended families, singles and new couples, with and without children. From the community engagement process, we identify elements that were integrated in the design, such as storage for market produce, laundry areas, community gardens, the akarima kajikoni, the kitchen gardens. And the urban form resulted in the upper part of the site, comprising apartment buildings with units ranging in size from 2 to 3 bedrooms of 62 to 71 square meters, with the lower 2 floors dedicated to a 2-story live-work units in select locations. Shops of offices are located on the ground floors along the main boulevard and participate to activate the streets. On the lower part of the site, it consists of a mix of 2 to 4 bedroom townhouses and semi-detached units that offer a front and back garden to each dwelling, guaranteeing the contact with the ground and promotive cultural responsiveness. The presence of community buildings, like the covered plaza, nurseries, and restaurants, allow for social sensitivity. Other developments include semi-detached and detached houses. The mixed neighborhood approach allows to cross-subsidize the affordable unit apartments with market price townhouses and semi-detached units, meeting government requirements to receive the subsidy to cover infrastructure costs of roads, utilities, and wastewater treatment. In conclusion, the neighborhood was designed with an integrated systems approach, considering green spaces, biodiversity, infrastructure, stormwater management, building massing, orientation, local low-carbon materials, and cultural responsiveness and spatial responsiveness with integration of spaces such as courtyards, Dimbuga, spaces for play, and kitchen gardens, Akarima Kajikoni. Planning tools such as master plans were used to ensure the whole systems approach of the neighborhood design, demonstrating that traditional design tools can be effective to deliver integrated design and planning. To learn more technical information about the case study project, please visit this link on the screen.